The pickup slowed to negotiate a boulder in the path ahead. Trapp used the time this bought and urged his straining body to give him one last jolt of strength as he sprinted through a noxious cloud of smoke, dust, and grit. His vision narrowed to a slit, and his breath constricted in his chest and throat as he raced forward, head down and arms pumping by his side. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Sikorsky disappearing behind him as he desperately tried to keep up. The pickup's brake lights flashed red, and it came to a skidding stop before backing up a few feet. It was the brake Trapp had been hoping for. He thrust off his right foot and flew through the air, colliding with the back of the truck and only barely hanging on as its driver finally worked his way around the obstacle that had forced him to stop. The vehicle lurched forward once again. Trapp's gloved fingers slipped, the left hand falling away entirely and sending an agonizing blast of pain through his right shoulder as that arm now took all his weight. He slipped downward, his night vision goggles bashing against the rear of the truck and tearing clean off his helmet. Tears stung at his eyes, not just from the dust the vehicle's rear tires were kicking up, but also the thought of how he was going to explain this to the unit's supply specialist without eating the check. The toes of his boots skidded against the hard-packed riverbed as he clung one-handed, desperately struggling to right himself as, worryingly, the pickup again began gaining speed.
Leave it, Trapp! Let the chopper handle it!
And then his friend's voice was gone. His entire world was the throb of the helicopter's rotors, the roar of the truck's engine, and the clouds of dust and stone that blocked out what was left of his vision in the dark. With a monumental force of effort, he flung his left hand up and high, where it bounced off the back of the truck's bed and somehow, miraculously, held. The pressure on his right shoulder diminished, but didn't disappear. With this second point of leverage, Trapp pulled himself up and into the truck's bed. It was empty, save for a scattering of tools that made for a hard and unpleasant landing. Trapp fell heavily on his chest. The tools rattled underneath him, and he jolted painfully every time the truck's wheels hit a pothole. Lactic acid burned his calves and thighs, as well as almost every other muscle in his body. He forced it out of his mind, pushing himself up and reaching for the pistol thrust through a strap on his plate carrier. 2 gunshots rang out in quick succession, splintering the pickup's rear window before whistling off into the night. Trapp brought the pistol up and chambered around, now cursing the loss of his low-light optics. All he could see through the cracked glass was a maelstrom of shapes in the darkness. He dared not risk opening fire, not without having a clear sight of a target, not with a kid inside the cabin. Another gunshot, nearer this time, and though still at least a foot from where Trapp was crouched, hanging on to the bucking truck's bed for dear life as the cursed ride struggled to eject him. Trapp knew that he couldn't let this play out much longer. He knew his target was firing blind, probably over his shoulder as he battled with the steering wheel. But the asshole only had to get lucky once.
Jason, what the hell are you doing? I said let the chopper handle it!
Trapp came to a decision. He reversed the pistol in his hand and used the grip to smash through the pickup's rear window, trusting his Kevlar-reinforced gloves to protect his hands. He swept left and right, clearing a hole big enough to fit his oversized frame through. It was going to be tight, especially when he factored in the 30 pounds of gear he was carrying. Another flash briefly lit the pickup's cabin before fading to black. There was no glass left for the bullet to shatter, but despite the wind whipping through his helmet and the clamor of the helicopter overhead, there was no disguising how close that shot had come. He waited for another hammer blow to fall, but none came. Hope flared that the guy's weapon had run dry. Better not wait to find out. He switched the weapon in his hand once more and thrust himself through the window. What was left of the glass tore at his fatigues and crunched underneath his boots as he scrambled for purchase. As he was clambering into the truck, his enemy changed the rules of the game. The man behind the wheel stomped hard on the brakes, instantly taking the pickup from at least 70 miles an hour to an almost dead stop in the blink of an eye. Clouds of dust billowed outside the vehicle, coating all the windows. Inertia flung him forward.
Oh, shit.
As he flew through the pickup's cramped cabin, he lost his grip on the pistol. His right shoulder took a second powerful blow as it slammed against the back of the driver's seat and snapped the mechanism inside from the force. The seat folded shut, slamming the driver against the horn. All oxygen was driven from Trapp's lungs from the impact.
Oh, damn it.